Mesdames et messieurs, Pascal de Sade est de retour. I am back for another episode of Pep Talk UK TV. And moments ago at the Madison Square Garden, we witnessed the fight between New York Linares and Vasily Lomachenko. It was an absolutely cracking fight, as I predicted on Twitter earlier this week. And the fight, began the way I expected it. Lomachenko, stepped up and showed the boxing ability that we know him to have. He was scoring very good shots very early on, using his angles, his footwork, everything that you would expect Lomachenko to do, Lomachenko did. However, on the sixth round, a very interesting chain of events happened where Linares, listen to this, was able to land a straight right hand and drop Lomachenko, something that Lomachenko's never experienced as a professional fighter. And that shocked me, I must say, as Cordella Royale, jumped out of his seat, I jumped out of my sofa and I started to dance a bit because I was surprised, not because I was against Lomachenko, but I'm a big fan of boxing, and whenever anything in boxing happens out of the ordinary, it just gives me the excitement that I enjoy when I watch a good fight. What was interesting that Linares did not capitalize from that particular knockdown. Linares just allowed Loma to recuperate and to regain control of his faculties, because you could see that during the last 10-15 seconds of the fight, Loma was trying to dance around the ring, because he realized that though the fight wasn't a punch ending knockdown, it was, or fight ending knockdown rather, it was certainly enough to make Loma question and take notice of Linares. Up till that time, I believe that Loma was particularly maybe overconfident. Loma has that ability to bamboozle you, a bit like when Vegas would do that in Street Fighter, where you wouldn't quite know where he would be climbing to and taking the player from. So for those of you who play Street Fighter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But whilst the footwork of Lomachenko was bamboozling Linares had an opportunity to drop him down, but towards the end of the fight, towards the latter rounds, the championship rounds as they are often called, Lomachenko managed to score, knockdown of his own against Linares, and subsequently end the fight as the referee called it out. Linares was unable to get up from a beautiful left hook to the body, who landed right on the kidney, following a flurry of head and body shots, and Linares basically decided to, the referee, believed that Linares was in no position to continue. Although, in my honest opinion, I believe it was another subtle element of Lomachenko, because Linares had the opportunity to stand up, had the opportunity to go back to the corner, had the opportunity to do the old fashion, rub my gloves against the referee, I'm doing good. But I felt like Linares wanted out at that point, and that the body shot was probably a bit more that Linares could chew, and the fight was called off effectively, and Lomachenko was crowned champion, the WBA lightweight champion, which makes him, historically the one of the only fighter in the sport of boxing to gain 3 world titles in three different weight classes, in the shortest possible time. So we have to give much credit to Lomachenko, and his talent is undeniable. He's truly an elite fighter, one of my favorites at the moment, and it's just such a joy to watch, and it would be interesting to see who else could potentially trouble Lomachenko in the sport of boxing. Some argue that Mickey Garcia at 135 could cause him a lot of problems, being that Garcia is an undefeated fighter, good fighter, with very good skills, very good boxing skills, very good timing skills, could potentially offset the speed and the momentum that Vasily Lomachenko is known to bring into a fight. Certainly that fight I would love to see, whether or not this fight is in the agenda, we will see. Lomachenko has said that he's willing to fight any and everybody. Linares has also, requested an opportunity to fight Lomachenko again. Although I don't believe that would be the best decision for Linares. I believe that Linares was convincingly outclassed, though he showed a lot of heart and he showed a lot of willingness to trade. And there were moments in the fight where he managed to land some very good combinations against Lomachenko. I do believe that a rematch will not necessarily be the way forward. I think Lomachenko has, convinced many of us today that he certainly is a true champion and is able to mix it with the best of them at different weight classes, and the fight was not close enough to warrant a rematch, in my opinion. There were no injuries from the Linares camp. I believe that the camp went really well. Linares looked the much bigger fighter, but unfortunately, he was beaten and outclassed by a master boxer that is Vasily Lomachenko. Certainly, Pep Talk boys and girls, we would love to hear your comments, so please do not forget to follow us on Twitter. Tune in every week to listen to the likes of Pro Busy, Frankie B, myself, Pascal Desad, and many other guests. And do not forget to comment below and subscribe and share. À la prochaine, mes amis. We hope to see you soon. Au revoir.